Hey guys, welcome to the JT Fitness full breakdown of the high bar back squat. Today we're going to cover how to set up the rack correctly for the squat. We're also then going to go over some essential techniques that you need to know to be able to perform the high bar back squat. And we'll also talk about some different variants if you're a little bit longer legged or a little bit longer in the torso or shorter on either aspect. So sit back and enjoy the video. Hey guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the bar. So you want the bar to be sitting roughly at shoulder height, okay? If the bar is lower than shoulder height, you're going to waste a lot of energy having to almost perform a rep just to get the bar out of the rack. So that'll be exhausting or will make the start of the set more compromised. You also don't want it too high because then you're going to end up having to go onto your tiptoes and then that will put you in a bad position. So then that will make getting the bar out the rack way more effort than it needs to be. So when you're setting up, trying to get that bar roughly as close to shoulder height as you can do it. And next thing to set up is the safety bars. The safety bars want to be placed at the very bottom of your squat. These are going to catch the bar if the worst comes to happen and you can't stand the squat up, okay? It should be very easy just to tip forward or to sit slightly backwards and the bar will land on the safety bars rather than having to fall on the floor or worse, run down the back of your neck. Either, you want these set up roughly to be at the bottom of your squat. The best way to test this and to help with your warm-up is so as mentioned, we're going to kill two birds with one stone here. The first thing we're going to check is actually, are the safety bars at the correct height? Now, this is the very bottom of my squat position, so I would say quite comfortable. If I was to tip forward or rock backwards, the bar would be caught. We can also start to use this as our warm-up. So these would be a mobility drill. So holding on to the safety arm, just sitting back in the bottom of your squat. And what you're trying to do here is find balance, find tension so you can hold this position without having to hold on. What you may find is you start rocking, start to feel like you're falling over or losing balance. Just reassess yourself, push your knees out, try changing up the feet, all that good stuff until you can find yourself well balanced. Now, this again is going to help us because we can take a quick look at where our feet are and we're then going to remember that so that when we start doing the squat, we know exactly where our feet need to go. So now that we've got our mobility sorted, we've got the rack started, let's take a look at the squat. Okay, so from here, we're going to talk about two very key aspects to the squat. Number one, where you're going to place your hands, and number two, where is it going to sit on your upper back. One of the most common complaints I get when dealing with someone's squat is that it hurts their neck to have the bar on their back. This is why such things like bar pads exist or using the safety bar exists. What a lot of people do is they place the bar too high and it actually sits on their vertebrae, which is definitely not comfortable. What we want to do is want to sit the bar on top of the shoulders, flex our upper back muscles, and that creates a nice pad for us for the bar to sit on. So let's take a look at the grip first. So hand placement wants to be as narrow as possible within a degree of comfort. So depending on how much external rotation you have with the upper arm will really depend on where the hands go. But the idea is as close as possible within comfort. So for me, I would measure up my thumb from where the knurling starts, and then I'm going to shoot through the middle. If you find that when you do this, you have some shoulder pain, then I would recommend going out a little bit wider, potentially to the rings. If it's really bad, you can go all the way out to the collars. It's not something I would recommend because, again, as mentioned, the narrower is the better. The next thing is you want to place the bar on top of your shoulders or top of your traps. So here would be an optimal position for myself. What a lot of people do, however, is they go a little bit higher and they sit it on top of their neck. Here would not be very comfortable, and I can understand where the pain comes from. So again, I'm finding the top of my shoulders and then going to push my shoulders up into the bar to create that nice pad for the bar to sit on. Once I've found that, I will step myself up, take a few steps back, and I'm ready to start squatting. Okay, so the last thing to talk about before we start looking at the descent in the squat is actually two techniques that we can use to have a safer and stronger squat. And they're actually two things to do with the upper body. So the first thing is, instead of breathing into the stomach like you're told to do, is actually breathe into the chest this time. So we're going to breathe into the chest, and what that's going to create is a bit more thoracic extension. What thoracic extension will do is ensure that the bar is in line with the middle of the body. You'll see this later in the video. The bar wants to stay in line with the middle of the body or the middle of the foot, whichever you can see easier. Having a tall thoracic will make that a lot easier. When you get tired, it will also be one of the first things that start to go. So as you start standing up, what you'll see is you'll start rounding up the upper back. That will make the squat even more harder than it needs to be and start to move you into a more compromised position, which could in turn cause some injuries, which of course is not something we want to do. The second thing, and potentially slightly more important thing that we can do with the upper body, is by bracing our abdominals. So what I mean by that is imagine if someone's going to punch you in the stomach. You're not just going to stand there, take it nice and easy. What you're going to do is you're going to squeeze the abdominals really hard and then tell them to punch you or not. So what we want to do before we start the squat is we're going to walk the squat out, get ourselves in the right foot position, then going to breathe into the chest, and we're going to contract our abdominals. That will increase the rigidity of our torso and then therefore reducing risk of injury and creating a nice strong point to put power into the barbell. So within an ideal squat, once you've found the bar on the correct position on your shoulders, you're going to step the bar out and then you're going to take about 3 steps backwards. So 1, 2, and 3. Some people will do it in 2, where you get in 2 spots. Others may take 4 or 5 just to adjust, but realistically you're looking to try and get this done within 3 steps. Now, if we remember back to before, when we did our squats with the safety arms, you want to remember where those feet go, find that position, and then you can start descending with your squat. Okay, everyone, now as promised, we're going to take a look at the descent, but we're going to run through that checklist first. So first thing I'm doing is checking my hands. Second thing is bar on top of the shoulders, flexing the shoulders up into the bar. I'm going to lift the bar out, take 2 to 3 steps to find my foot position. Once I have my feet position, I'm going to breathe into the chest, flex the abdominals, keep my eyes up, and we're going to start our descent. So the first thing that I want you to do, guys, is the knees are going to unlock itself. So the knees want to unlock, and that's going to start our descent, okay? If we were to bend at the hips first, the bar suddenly moves forward and it's out in line of the body. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I want that bar to stay in the middle of the body the whole time. If I bend at the waist forward, it's suddenly forward, okay? So again, I'm going to unlock the knees, and I'm going to push them as far forward and out as I can. Once I start to feel the weight shift into my toes, then I can bend at the hips and continue my descent down. Once you're in the bottom, guys, check out this little tip. So we're going to talk about one of the top tips I've picked up while teaching people to squat. And what that is when you're in the bottom position, you're about to start your ascent, so on the way up for the squat, what you want to do is imagine that you're trying to screw your feet into the ground. So imagining you're tearing a bit of paper with your feet. From there, what that will do is engage the glutes a lot more, making the ascent or the stand much, much easier. So what you'll see is as I stand, I will over-exaggerate this, but I'm going to be rotating my feet into the ground. I'm going to come down, rotate the feet, and up. What that will also help with is if you have knees that buckle in during the squat, it will force those knees to be pushed out, providing, again, a safer position for the knees and engaging the glutes while you do the squat. All right, guys, and once you put that all together, the squat will look something like so. So again, every time I'm doing this while I'm learning, I'm running through that checklist in my head, one step at a time, and then blending it all together to create the perfect squat. Again, key aspects here is that bar remains center of the body. So what I would highly recommend, now you've had a time to view this video, view it a couple more times just so you understand each and every position, but then start filming yourself from directly side on. So a similar angle to what I've got set up here. And what we're looking for is where does the bar path move? It's, like I said, should be in a dead straight line in the middle of the foot is what we're looking for. If you're interested in learning how to get a little bit deeper in the squat, then check out my Instagram over at jtfitness_pt, and we can have a chat about how to improve that. But that, guys, is the video for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new, and I look forward to seeing you in my other technique, guys. Thank you.